He appeared on the Voice Stand Session 3, which was back in July. Boy, time flies. Back in July 22nd. And we are thrilled to have Jeff as well joining us for the party session of the Voice Den, which is going to be taking place on November 14th at 5 p.m. Pacific. So without any further ado, let's get Jeff on the show here. Hey Jeff, how's it going?
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
I am great. It is absolutely wonderful to have you on the show. And we're going to meet our co-host here in just a second. But Jeff, before we even get to that, I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh, sure. So like you said, my name is Jeff Blankenberg. I am on the Alexa team at Amazon, and my job primarily is to talk to developers and creators and writers, all sorts of creative people about the latest and greatest with Alexa. So most of it is focused on the technical side, but I spend lots and lots of time talking about voice design and UI and all that kind of stuff too.
Amazing, amazing. And there's certainly lots to talk about with regards to Alexa. The big event was just actually not too long ago now with all the announcements, and we'll get to all that. Let me bring Ian on here, our co-host as well. Ian, great to see you again. Welcome back to the show. We can't hear you, Ian. I think maybe muted.
You know, it's that little pesky mute button. That's sometimes gets the best
pesky
of me.
mute button. That's never happened to me, right?
Exactly what you want to do.
Never happened to me. Never happened to you either, Jeff. I'm sure. Never. You're perfect.
Never.
Mute button. Yeah.
Not today. Earlier today.
Yeah. Not today. All right, Jeff. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here. First of all, before we get into anything with Alexa, though, we got to talk about what's going on behind you there. What is going on behind you there?
Oh, so I actually just set up my theater here in a disco. No, this is so as my title said, Purveyor Pop. So me and my kids, probably, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, started collecting these Funko Pop figures. And it was just one or two, and we had them on a shelf in like a bedroom. And then, before we knew it, we had 10 or 15. And then I was like, I got to find a place for these things. And so I have this home office, which I've worked from home for the last 13 years. So it's been awesome. But they slowly but surely just end up on the walls because this is like a private room with door closed. Family, friends, guests never see this, when you could still have guests. And now, before I know it, I think there's about 380 of them in this room.
Holy smokes.
Wow. But you're only seeing about 50 or 60, I think. And then so I needed the studio, and I thought, well, they're neat, but I need something else. I want some lights. And so there's all sorts of LEDs now flashing around them and whatever. It's maybe a little, I actually call this the nonsense. So I have an Alexa routine, and all I do is say, Alexa, start the office nonsense. She's going to do it. Oh, see, the lights just stopped because she heard that. So that's what turns all the lights on, gets all the animation going, gets the whole studio rolling. So it's pretty fun.
Amazing. And I remember when you were on the Voice Den, number one, I remember two things about that. Number one, it was your birthday.
It was.
And number two, you were in the process of trying to win an auction for one of those pop guys. Did you win that auction?
I was. Well, it wasn't an auction, thankfully, but it was. They do exclusive sales from time to time. In fact, they had one today, and if you don't get in the first 20 seconds, you don't get one. And so it's not so much an auction; it's just how fast can you check out with your credit card and everything.
The pop drop.
Yes, and so that was the day. I think they had a bunch of exclusive Star Wars ones that were dropping. But in addition to my birthday, that was also the day of Alexa Live. You said that was just recently, but that was also in July, on July 22nd.
You're right. Time flies.
It was just last week, it seems.
Here we go. So, well, that's a perfect segue. Let's talk about that. What are the? I mean, there were a lot of announcements, obviously, but 3 months out now, or wherever we are out now from that. What have been sort of the biggest announcements or the biggest, take home messages from that?
I'm going to start with some smaller ones.
Okay.
It was the one that I actually got to give a presentation on, which I was really excited about, which is the concept of skill resumption. So today, if you want to use a skill, you have to talk to it. And then if you want it to come back and give you more information, you have to talk to it again. And the idea with skill resumption, it's like backgrounding, right? With mobile apps. You can send it away or it can send itself away. And then when it's ready to give you more information, it pops back up. That was one that I was really, really excited about because there's a number of situations where you want to have it go do something, can't do it right away. And it's going to come back in a half an hour and say, hey, by the way, your pizza delivery guy's on the way or whatever it is. And you don't want to have to ask it, where's my pizza? You just want it to tell you when it's time. So that's what skill resumption does. And I think that one was pretty cool. But I think the biggest one by far has been Alexa Conversations. which is an unfortunate naming because it's so overlapped with everything else.
Sure.
But the concept behind Alexa Conversations is to build, is to use machine learning and AI to actually drive how your skill works. And so you build out a bunch of sample utterances and conversations, and Alexa figures it all out for you. So you don't have to think about each individual intent and interaction and all that stuff. And so we've run a big hackathon. We had lots and lots of entries, lots of interesting ways people have approached this. And in fact, we found some people that have come in never having built for voice before and started with Alexa Conversations. And it's interesting to talk to them because they don't have a lot of the preconceived notions and things that we all do as you know, veterans. It's been around, what, 5-6 years, but veterans of this have all these preconceived notions about how things should work.
Sure. Right. Great. Ian, thoughts? Questions?
Well, hopefully you hear the spirit of the question that I'm about to ask. What is your thought in this environment on competition versus collaboration? When Google Assistant, or if Apple with Siri does something more than just come out with a mini pod, right? With Samsung Bixby comes and starts to continue their development, or they have new things, or Microsoft Cortana with the, you know, kind of enterprise side of things, SoundHound, et cetera. There's other folks in the game besides Amazon. Mm-hmm. For you as a person, you have an opinion, and then Amazon may have an official stance, but maybe you could speak to both. What is your feeling on, is it both? Is it competition and everybody's at war, and collaboration and rising tide raises all ships? Or is it too soon for competition because it's still early in the game, so everybody needs to kind of work together? I'd love your insight on that.
Sure. So I think I have the same position that Amazon does, which is that I'm all for it. It's not a battle. This is an opportunity for everybody. And in fact, Amazon has started a multi-voice coalition, right? Where the idea is we want there to be other assistants. We recognize that Alexa or Google Assistant or whoever can't be the end all be all. There's no way you can have that be the only thing. Where you may think about that with things like mobile phones. I had the fortunate / not so fortunate opportunity to work on Windows Phone when that was a thing. And that was a difference where, like, you can have one be the only thing, right? And Apple and Google certainly did a good job of preserving their market share. So as we think about voice, though, it's different. There's so many different places and surfaces and opportunities, and everybody's got their own perspective on this stuff. And I think in a perfect world, you can talk to any device and talk to the assistant you want to talk to. That's not going to happen soon, I don't think. But I like that Amazon is really paving the way on this stuff, because I think it's going to make a big difference in the long run. When you want to talk to your broker's assistant, you can. When you want, I mean, it doesn't have to all funnel through one specific Amazon or Google or Apple kind of assistant, or even Cortana, right? It should be its own standalone thing that you can talk to from any device with a microphone and a speaker. That's where I see it going. That's where I hope it goes.
And is that sort of ties into this interoperability initiative then that Amazon is? I've seen that promoted quite a bit.
Yes.
And do you have any insight into how that's going, or what the response is for that?
I don't have any insights, and I wasn't necessarily prepared to discuss this one. So no, I don't have any specific perspectives on it. Okay. Only that I personally am very excited about the opportunity that it brings.
Sure. Now, shifting to something that I know that you're very interested in and very enthusiastic about right now, and this ties into your whole studio that you got set up there, is that you do regular Twitch streams all about building skills, and you've got a really cool project. So tell us about that. I'm really keen to hear more about this.
Sure. Yeah, you're not going to have any shortage of excitement for me. So I stream on Twitch every morning, 10 a.m. to noon, for the most part. I mean, there's flexibility in that, but for the most part, it's every day, 10 to noon Eastern time on Twitch on my channel. I've got a sign right there with my name and stuff on it. The thing that I've been building over the last month and a half or so started as a chatbot. As I was on Twitch, I wanted a way to engage my audience. And so what I did is I built a very small casino. And so the way it worked is every time you posted a message in chat, you were given one more coin in the casino. And then you could use commands that I built, like !poker or !slots, to actually play a video poker game or a slot machine or roulette or craps or blackjack. I haven't finished all the games, but we're getting there. And I realized very quickly that what I was building for the chatbot would not be something that I could use easily to translate to other platforms. And I knew that I'd want to build this for Alexa too. So I started over. I left the casino as it was. It's still running in my Twitch chat. But I started over and I completely rebuilt it so that the casino, which I call Chatsino, is completely standalone. And so it runs on a database. It's basically like a JavaScript library that I import into a project, and then I call into it and make it do the things I want to do. But I have an Alexa version now, and I have I'm starting on the new Twitch version again, and then we're going to move it to Slack and Discord and all sorts of other places where you can play it. And one of the huge benefits of it is that your balance will follow you no matter where you go. So if you're on Twitch or Slack or whatever, you can easily link your accounts, and then you have the same balance no matter where you are. You don't have to have like a separate game running on each different platform. Now, the nuanced cool part of this is that I've had a lot of people ask me, because it drives a ton of engagement. The chat is just flowing by as you're watching my Twitch streams. And a lot of people ask me, hey, how could you give me a copy of this? Could you run it on my channel? And one of the things that's going to be happening on the Twitch version is if you subscribe to my Twitch channel, which you can do for free, even if you have Amazon Prime or anything like that. If you subscribe to my Twitch channel, it'll automatically be available on your channel. Like, it'll automatically install itself. So the bot will start listening to your channel. It'll be able to respond to users there. But again, same balance because it's the same username, because it's the same everything. So it's a fun project. There's lots to explore. There's so many rules to Craps and Blackjack. I love those games, but I didn't realize what it's like to have to code those games. It's a lot.
That is very, very cool. I'm fascinated by this. So people are, during your Twitch streams, they're sort of watching you build this experience in real time. And then they can interact with you and they can learn from you and ask questions and follow along.
That's exactly right. But if what I'm saying is boring or the lights aren't enough for you, then you can just sit there and like gamble those coins that you've earned by participating in chat right there.
I can't help but think about, and I don't know if maybe Ian, you're already thinking about this, when you're talking about coins and a currency, my mind is going to blockchain.
Sure.
And any thought about creating some type of currency or tying this to some type of blockchain currency or anything like that?
Ooh, so I'm trying to be very careful. I mean, I'm already dabbling in casino world, right? And so every time I talk to any lawyer at Amazon, they're like, wait, casino, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, it's completely free. They're like, can people pay to buy coins? And I'm like, no, 100% no. And I'm even dabbling with the idea of if I can get subscribers to pay for this, right? So there's some income coming from this service. Taking the really unique events that happen in a casino, like a royal flush or 3 diamonds on the slot machine or something like that, and actually using some of that revenue to provide as prizes. And the lawyers that I've talked to are even a little cringy about that because it feels like gambling. Even though there's no way for you to risk any of your own money, you're playing games of chance with the opportunity to win real things. So I haven't decided if I'm actually going to go down that path yet. But anything that looks like a financial instrument, I try to stay away from. Even though blockchain might be a cool application for this.
Could I jump in and ask?
Ahead.
Okay, so with decentralized applications or the distributed ledger, the whole approach of blockchain, having a third party verify for trustworthiness, automation, etc. The thing that people talk a lot about is cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest. But one of the opportunities that's really being exploited by different companies today are automation through smart contracts, kind of an if this, then that trigger, with many of these strung together to automate the process, remove the middlemen, remove the need for employees to do the manual processes, or to decentralize the community. Instead of it being a top-down structure on a community, having the opportunity where instead the community kind of regulates themselves. So if we got away from cryptocurrency, which is still very speculative and not necessarily something that any large global 2000 company is going to necessarily want to push unless they're in the financial fintech world. When it comes to the other options, like decentralizing communities, decentralizing contracts through smart contract automation, what we've done with the Voice Den, having the NFTs, right, placed on the Ethereum blockchain to create something that is fun. Ideally, it'll become a game, but right now it's just kind of a collectible with no intrinsic value in and of itself at this point. Can you speak to distributed ledger, decentralization, not in terms of today, but in terms of like, how might you envision a decentralized approach slowly integrating into Twitch live streams or slowly integrating into the Alexa developer community, et cetera?
Sure. This is an interesting question because whether on purpose or not, I've actually not spent much time digging into blockchain at all. And so other than understanding cryptocurrencies and understanding the general concept behind how blockchain works, right? It is not something that I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about. So that's a really interesting question, but I feel like I'm going to spend a lot of time spinning cycles in my head trying to come up with a good answer for you because I haven't spent a lot of time on that.
Sure. No,
I like the novel idea. I certainly like when I think about blockchain, the things that are appealing to me are the trust and verification, right? Being able to say that, yes, this is true and this person doesn't have or own this thing. I think that's incredibly interesting. But I always, being somebody that spent a lot of time in the data world in my previous lives, I always worry as I think about a blockchain and how it just scales in size. That's something that I've heard is a potential concern with this. So that's something that I've always looked at and said, wow, I don't actually know how that would work or how that would be handled. But off the top of my head, I don't know that I have a great answer for you off that question.
Fair enough. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to jump in there and say, well, just getting back to the casino side of the applications that you're building here. So where are you at right now? I'm curious kind of what's the status of that. Can people go open it up on Alexa now? Or how does that work?
No, they can't. I haven't published it yet, although we're getting close. I have a beta running, so if you want to join me on my channel, all I ask is that people send me a direct message, give me their email address that they set their devices up with, and I can get them access to it. You can also just try it out right there on the Twitch channel. But I'm expecting probably before the United States Thanksgiving, so end of November, that it'll be live in the store.
Oh, so that's pretty soon, actually.
That's not. And we're going live with 3 games: just slots, blackjack, and slots, video poker, and roulette. And I have good portions of craps and blackjack built, but there's more work to be done, and I don't want that to hold us back. That'll let me say, hey, now we have slots, and hey, now we have blackjack. Right? That'll be future releases.
And is this all? I'm assuming, is it all multimodal? So you're taking advantage of the screen?
It is. So that's something I've been working on this week, actually, was doing the video poker interface where people, if they don't want to talk to it, they can just tap on the cards and hold the ones they want and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'll definitely be multimodal.
Very cool. Oh, I really like it. Ian, we're running a little bit short on time. Any other final questions?
So I have one question on how, one thing that's so wonderful about Amazon, Alexa, and that side is that you become sponsors for the Voice Den. And the great thing is to let us have your social proof, allow us to have the validation that Amazon's happy we're doing the Voice Den events and sponsor us. One thing that we don't always have total clarity, I'm speaking for Terry in this sense, is exactly how to help promote Amazon, the services, the products that are most important. So is there a resource that people like Terry, being that Amazon sponsors the Voice Den, or others that just want to promote Amazon, right? They just love Amazon. Where is the primary place for them to find out the information so they can tell the story and tell the narrative on your behalf?
Boy, that's a fantastic question that I should have a really canned answer for.
Ian's asking the tough questions. Holy.
Yeah, no, I like it. So when I think about how do I give people information that they can share about Amazon, that's tricky. I don't know that we have a location necessarily for that. I tend to send people to alexa.design/start. And that's kind of a get started, figure out how to get going with building for voice kind of portal. But as far as having resources to let you know, people that are very in the know about how you tell people about the latest and greatest what's going on with Amazon, I'd have to think of what the URL is. The coolest thing I think that I probably have in that regard is on the developer portal. So it's on developer.amazon.com/Alexa. There is a page that is like the latest releases. And it's a nondescript page, and it's certainly not the homepage that you're going to find. But on that page, it literally is just a grid with dates that shows you, hey, we just launched this today. Hey, this thing just came out. And I think it's kind of cool to go through that because you get to see very quickly, these aren't the big noisy announcements. This is like, hey, this thing is now available in Germany. Hey, this thing is released here now. Because this is getting updated on a pretty regular basis. And I think that's probably one of the cooler things that we have on the website is a very visible release calendar.
That's great because, well, that's excellent. It's at least that is very systematic, so that if a developer is looking for something, they can at least go through and see exactly where to find the stuff. One of the resources that I have been using a little bit too is just the and I'm going to forget the name of it, but the blog. I think it's Amazon One or Day One or something.
Day One blog, yeah.
Day One blog, where they have a lot of the announcements and the latest news, which I find useful as well.
Yeah, no, the Day One blog is good.
Finally, before I let you go, I just gotta you have to show everybody a little sneak peek of the actual new Echo, the Sphere behind you, because I know you've got all the devices there.
I do have one here. This is the new Echo. It was just released. I think this is Gen 4. It only came out a couple of days ago, and so hey, you know what? Why don't we start at the casino?
Oh, do it.
Alexa, open Chatsino. Maybe.
Welcome to the Chatsino. You are on a 3-day streak.
Nice.
I just gave you 150 bonus coins. You currently have 19,066 coins available.
Whoa.
What would you like to do?
Bet 5 on slots.
Yowza! You got cherries, grapes. You won 25 coins.
Whew.
Your new balance is 19,092.
Big winner today.
Do you have a leaderboard?
Alexa, stop. Of course, there's a leaderboard. On that, it just gives you the top 5, and if you're not in the top 5, it'll tell you where you are. But I also have a web-based one that runs in the stream so that people can see exactly what their balances are for the top 30, I think. So when you're there and you're in the chat, it shows you commands you can use to play the casino, but it also shows you the top 30 standings. One guy's gone out of control. I actually had to add a feature to it to prevent this, but he's hit some really good luck on some really big bets. And where most people, I think the high level of most people, they have like 1 million coins they've earned over time. He has 2.5 trillion because he just keeps like betting, 10 million at a time, and then he'll hit some big jackpot, and before you know, he's got all this money. So I had to build limits into the new version, and so depending on how many coins you have, there's an upper and lower bound, a minimum and a maximum that you can bet, so that you're not betting 30 million at a time every time, because 2 trillion's a lot.
It's going to make you go bankrupt at that rate.
Right. For sure.
All right. Well, that's awesome, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, coming up, you are on the party edition of the Voice Den. What questions would you like it if people asked you? What's your sweet spot? What are things that you like to talk about?
I love talking about the not so specific future. So if you want to talk about what I think voice or technology or anything is going to look like in 10 or 15 years, I love to talk about stuff like that. But I also love any of the little nuanced technical things related to voice today. So how do I build stuff? What's the best way to approach this problem? Why is it that she never understands me? Whatever the thing is. I love that kind of stuff too. So the very, very current or the very far future, but I like to stay out of the what's going to happen in 3 years conversation, because then that ends up in a newspaper and somebody says, hey, he said this. It's got to be like, I don't want to talk about that stuff. Right. So
I understand. Yeah.
I will never, ever make any promises while I'm on air like this, but people think I am sometimes. So I like to be careful.
That's such a carrot. I want to talk to you more about the future. Do you have like another minute or two?
I've got all the time you need. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, because I know this is right up. This is Ian's forte as well. So tell us, give us one of your predictions for 10 years out or so for voice. What are we looking at?
Yes, please.
Got it. So I actually just gave a talk. I've given this keynote twice now. Once was at the Toronto Tech Summit, which was just last week. And then I gave it at the Voice Summit. This was the opening keynote at the Voice Summit. Yeah. But I talked a lot about the idea of something beyond a digital assistant like we think of today, but more like a personal AI companion that's always with you. And it's always available to make all of those decisions for you. So a couple of the examples of things that I really wanted to be able to do are, and I may have even talked to you about this before, Terry. I want the ability for my assistant, my personal companion, my AI, to be able to tell me when I have a dentist appointment without me ever having to worry about making a dentist appointment. Right? That's one really good example of this. It can talk to my healthcare system to make sure that I'm eligible for another cleaning right now. It can talk to my dentist system. It can talk to my own personal calendar to make sure all of that is cleared. But that's just one simple example that, honestly, if the systems would open themselves up, it wouldn't be that hard to build today. The things that I'm more interested in are it being able to recognize that I haven't had much of a social life lately, and it just schedules get-togethers with me and my friends. It goes out of the way to talk to their assistant and say, hey, you know what? You're all going to the beach on Friday night. You're going to have a bonfire. I've actually had some wood ordered. So you're going to be also like, it takes care of all of that. And I just look at it and go, oh my gosh, I'm getting together with my friends next Friday. That's awesome. Right. And it just happened because our AIs talked to each other and figured it all out for us. That would be amazing.
Amazing.
I mean, Ian, thoughts on that? I know Ian likes to think about the future.
Well, that's very fun and human. I love that very much. I haven't heard that thought. One that I think a lot about is accelerating what takes 6 months and getting it done in 6 minutes. So I do think a lot about the ability to where when we have an idea in X number of seasons or years from now, call it 10, we say, I have this brilliant idea. And you just say to the assistant, hey, can you search the domains and all of the social media sites and find out if Jeff's brilliant idea is available? Yes, it is. Okay, order all those. Okay, take the photo I took 3 days ago on the beach, take the video with my kids from 4 days ago, write this copy, write this, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's on your TV. You're looking, you say, now move this around. Okay, that's it. That's my website. Can you just send everything over to my lawyer, have them check everything, have them file the incorporation, spin up an Eventbrite page, and go ahead and send out an Eventbrite link for people to come over and meet me at the beach to celebrate my new idea in 3 weeks, and just text everybody within 100 miles that I've texted in the last 3 weeks. The texts go out, everybody gets invited, the thing's full, and literally in 6 minutes, you just accomplish execution.
I think we can take it further because it should know, like, oh, you're planning an event? I'm going to set up the Eventbrite. I'm going to tell all, like, it should do that automatically. I think about like having a very low level is probably the wrong way to say it, but like a low level employee that just is a taskmaster, right? They just get done what you need to get done. And I like to take all of that stuff away. The whole point of the talk that I was giving was that think of all the interesting idea you just brought up about how cool that would be if all of this stuff could happen. Imagine if you could spend your entire day, your entire time, your brain is processing stuff, thinking about those things and not worrying about like, my mortgage payment's coming up in 2 days. I got to remember not to forget that. Like that should never be a thing we ever think of, or like my mortgage is just going to get paid because it's going to get paid. And if it's not, then it's going to find a backup way to cover that or whatever. But like one of the arguments I make in that talk is you should never have to pay your bills again. That should just happen. Yes. And it should be structuring your money and anticipating and planning. And like, I don't need to do all that stuff. I don't need to make it a manual process. Right. That's the kind of stuff that I'm really looking forward to. And in 10 years is probably a really low estimate, honestly, because that kind of stuff is going to take a lot of work and a lot of trust, honestly, is going to be a big part of it too. Is, am I going to concede that part of my life, the part that's been so manual and so part of me for so long? How do I just hand that away to some AI?
Yeah, how do you integrate Neuralink technology potential with the machine learning that we currently experience in a voice assistant fashion? If Musk and the other competitors that are creating Neuralink technology for people's thoughts to be able to control or at least interact with computers, do you have any thoughts on that 25 plus years out, since you love talking about undefinable futuristic stuff?
The struggle I have with the Neuralink stuff is that I haven't been convinced that it's real yet. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. But when I think of Neuralink, I still think there was a toy that came out like 5 years ago. It was like a Jedi mind controller thing, and you could like get a ping pong ball to move. It had some blowers, and you basically got to decide where the ball moved. And they were trying to use some kind of basic brainwave technology stuff to manipulate that thing. But the idea that I'm going to like move a mouse or something more significant with technology, with my brain, that seems amazing. First, like I'm all for it if it's possible. I am highly skeptical. I have a degree in psychology. That's where I spend a lot of my time thinking about this kind of stuff. And it just seems so far future that, yes, I'm for it, but I don't, man, there's good and bad to that, right? I mean, think of all the thoughts you have that you don't want people to know about or hear about, right? That's all we need is the next Twitter to just publish everything you think.
Oh, jeez. Can you imagine?
That'd be awful.
We'll all be wearing foil.
Right. Exactly right.
Well, wow. Okay, guys. Well, fascinating discussion. We've really covered the gamut here. Holy, this went way more broad than I thought we would go. But
now you're gonna stop it, Terry. Just as I really started getting excited.
Yeah, I know. No, it's great. Hey, thanks so much, Jeff. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ian, for co-hosting. Jeff, Where can people go then to follow you and get in touch with what you're doing and the Twitch stream and stuff? Where, give them some direction. Where can they go?
They go wherever they go. They can find me as @JeffBlankenburg, literally everywhere. If you want to find me on TikTok, you can even find me there. So I would recommend, if you really want to reach out, if you want to connect, use Twitter, use Twitch. Those are the two places that I spend most of my time. And I'm really looking for an opportunity to meet and talk and discuss stuff with people. So I'm putting myself out there. It's just about you making the step back. So would love to meet everybody that's watching and anybody that has a chance to talk about voice. I'm in. Count me in.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you again to both of you for joining us again. The Voice Influencer Show featuring the purveyor of pop, and the proof is there right behind him in the flashing lights. So amazing. Invite everybody to join us for the Voice Den Party November 14th, 5 p.m. Pacific, where you will see Jeff there, purveyor of pop, and Ian will be there as well, the optimist, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you very much again to you guys, and we'll talk to you again soon.